Hey, God, great. I know. Well, anyway, I'll just keep talking, hopefully through it. So, anyway, I hope your day. Time it is where you are. Looking forward to getting home tonight. I want to try and work a little bit on the channel. I was going to go play in a poker tournament. Tonight, but I've kind of decided maybe tomorrow instead. Tonight, I think I'm just going to work on the channel. I'll try and do the 7 o'clock stream if you're, if you're up or if you're around. It's 7 o'clock p.m. on all the different streaming platforms. So come on by. Never understood why this side of the road I get poor reception, but on the very other side I get good reception going back. So hopefully this is coming in halfway decent, 30 frames a second, I don't know. Anyway, kind of wanted to continue a little bit about the, I was reading, I got a chance during lunch to do a lot more reading about what's going on. Positive thing nobody was anticipating. Now they said that unemployment for the during the days where the shutdown was in effect, or the partial government shutdown, they said that unemployment claims went up a little bit because of the shutdown, the partial government shutdown, but other than that, the numbers in January were off the charts, over 300,000 new jobs, better than they anticipated. So this goes back to what I've been saying all along, is you can't argue with something that's working. I mean, if the job numbers are there, the job numbers are there. I mean, and if the, like, I don't know if you saw the recent report just the other day, they found a tunnel going from, like, Mexico and into Texas, from Texas to Mexico or whatever, once again. And this was a very well constructed tunnel that they wouldn't have been able to find from the air, so these are the things that you have to contend with. And the wall is going to be, the nice part about the wall is, if you think this through, and I don't know if they've disclosed this, or if anybody's really said this out loud. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I don't know, but I'll let you kind of think about this. If you're all familiar with the tuning fork, where you strike it and it vibrates, well, think of this. If you are building a wall or a barrier, and you're driving these metal, basically they're metal rods, if you will, to make the wall, you can actually turn those into, and so you can detect the tunnels underneath those actual metal rods going into the earth. So there, I think, you might not be seeing the whole picture. They may not be disclosing how they're going to stop the tunnels as well, because a lot of people were saying, oh, you build the wall, they're still going to tunnel under it. Well, now you have a much, much bigger, chance of stopping it, because these things are going to be, literally, you're not building the wall on top of the earth, you're driving these metal, girders, or whatever you want to call them, cylinders, down into the earth, not just 5 feet or 10 feet, we're talking, 50, 60 feet, I mean, we're talking very deep into the earth. And once they're there, they become basically a conduit to where you can send, you're familiar with how they use, for example, how radar works, so that you can actually look, even if you're in a fish finder, that'd probably be the best, when you're on top of the water and you're shooting down and looking for fish, very much the same thing, but they can only go so deep with these things to detect tunnels. Now, with the help of this border wall that's going to be there, they can actually go even deeper using the border wall as kind of like an antenna, if you will, so to go even deeper into the earth and actually see these tunnels as they pop up. But anyway, so I did get a chance to look a little bit into the news today and see what was going on. It is getting closer to, it's going to come up February 15th. And I'm hoping if Pelosi and her little cronies, they don't come up with the money, I'm hoping he will declare a national emergency to get this wall done. I'm hoping he'll do it, pull money from wherever he has to. I don't care. Just put it down and get this wall done. So it'll be one more thing that he can say is a feather in his cap. More jobs than ever, less unemployment, better deals. He did. I know also that there was a pact that they had with Russia that we were basically going to pull out for our weapons, and it said something like they had till the 2nd, I believe, of this month, because they gave them so long where Russia had to comply with this because they had been violating this treaty or this pact for ever since Obama was in office, and nobody would stand up to them. And the U.S. finally said, look, if you're not going to upkeep it, we're going to pull out of it. And all of NATO even said they agree with the U.S., and NATO was like, yes, we agree with the U.S., you have to comply with this, and you haven't been complying with it. So once again, we were taking the brunt of the punishment, and Russia was doing whatever the hell they wanted. So now we're saying, look, if you're not going to comply, we're going to pull out of it, and we'll be back where we were before this was put in effect. So there's all kinds of I was just kind of like scrolling through trying to get a gist of what was going on, and there was a lot of interesting things. So that was neat. Like the jobs, finding out about more jobs in January, that was a great thing. So I'm just trying to wrap my arms around what's going on with a lot of the things that are out there now with Trump, because I've been trying to... I was listening before to the guy, Sean Hannity, but as I said, I listened to a little bit of him and a little bit of some of the other... I like the point counterpoint. I like to hear both sides of these issues, and then I've been reading the different websites that are kind of fair and unbiased, and I don't mean like Fox or CNN or MSN. I've been actually there's a lot of really great websites out there that give you just the news in its entirety with none of this. They don't lean one way or lean the other. But there's some really good ones that actually will show you this is what the left says, this is what the right says, this is what the middle is. So there's a lot of really good sites out there. I've been kind of perusing those sites to see which way everything's going. But this is going to be a good year to see how all things... And then it was so funny. I was reading this thing about Maroon 5, right? They had been saying to Maroon 5, oh, don't do the Super Bowl, don't do it, stand with us, or take a knee with, during it. And I'm just like, let me tell you, if Maroon 5 doesn't just do their fucking job and play music, if they make any kind of a political statement or, I'll never listen to them again. Not that I listen to them now that much anyway, but I will have no respect for Adam Levine, period. I mean, you're an entertainer. You're an artist. Keep politics, keep that shit out of it. And I'm going to tell you, I still, to this day, I think absolutely, if you were on my football team and you took a knee at the national anthem in protest of anything, your ass would be off my team so fast your head would spin, and you'd have to sue me to try and get a nickel from me. I mean, I'll tell you, I would just boot him out, and I'm so furious that people really, truly want to get behind that. It just boggles my mind what a lot of these people in America do. And it's all just to get their 15 minutes of fame. Just to get 15 minutes of the limelight. Oh, I'll do this, we'll do that. Maybe we'll get on CNN. Let's call a news station. Let's see if we can get in the news. And you know what? 6 months from now, 8 months from now, it'll all be old news and it'll all be over. And they'll come up with something else. Let's do something else outrageous that people will get appalled by and be upset by. It's all about trying to get that 15 minutes of fame. And you know what? Get over it. You can't go back hundreds of years and change what happened. So don't take a knee at this. Don't take a knee at that. Things today are nothing like they were back when our national anthem was written. And nobody's going to change the national anthem. Nobody's going to change it, make it so it's less politically insensitive to you or so it's not offensive. So if you're offended by the national anthem, get the fuck out of our country. Very, very simple. Very simple. You're offended, get out. You don't got to be here. If you're offended by that, leave. If you don't want to stand behind our president, leave. There's so many different ways that you can show how upset you are. Get the fuck out. That's kind of what I say. You know, I'm so tired of hearing these pussies sit there and bitch, and everything's got to be politically correct. Kevin Hart said this in one of his... It's fucking comedy. He's a comedian. It's supposed to be funny. What makes something funny? It's funny when it's so ridiculous you know it's absolutely a joke. That's what makes something comedy. But if you're going to say to the comedians, oh, well, you can't make gay jokes, you can't make jokes about this, you can't make jokes about religion, you can't make jokes about men, you can't make jokes about women, you can't make jokes about children, you can't make jokes, then guess what? You can't make jokes about anything. Then there is no more fucking comedy. Because if you're going to take everything so fucking serious, get on a plane, get the fuck out of the country, and go live in fucking the desert or wherever you want to go live that makes you happy, where people don't even speak your language. That's what you need. You need to go someplace where nobody understands you and you don't understand anyone else, and then you'll never be offended. But if you can't understand the reason jokes are funny is because of just how ludicrous they are, just how off base, off wacky, just how untrue they are. That's what makes it, when I make a joke about something that is totally a stereotype that you know is not true, that's what makes you laugh. You laugh at it because it's not true. Or in some cases, maybe it is true, and it's even more funny when you hear it said out loud. But you can't take things serious all the time, and everything has to have such a, that's politically incorrect. Get the fuck out of here. God, there's just a certain point in time where you get so fed up with these idiots. Everything's offensive to them. Oh, take a knee at the Star-Spangled Banner. Take a knee when this is run. Take a knee this. Do this. Protest this. Everything does not have to be politically correct. It just doesn't. Because if it has to be politically correct, you might as well just go and live in communist Russia. Go live somewhere where communism is. That way you don't get to say what you want. You don't get to joke freely. You have to do that's where you need to be. Go live in a communist nation and then come back to our country and see how much you appreciate the jokes that are said and how you can communicate. And it doesn't matter if you like it or if you're offended, don't fucking listen. Don't yap your mouth and tell everybody how offended you are. Just turn away and walk the fuck away. Don't sit here and tell me how bad it is or how I should feel about it. Because you know what? I laugh at inappropriate jokes. I do. I laugh at dark humor. I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. When I hear a good gay joke, do I laugh? Yeah, I laugh. Why? Because I know a lot of gay people and I'm friends with gay people. And you know what? It's just sometimes there's so much untruth in it. That's what makes it funny. Sometimes there's truth in it. It's not that you can't make fun of people. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can make fun of anybody, anytime, anywhere, for any reason. I can make fun of you because of the way you dress. I can make fun of you for the way you talk. I can make fun of you for your belief. I can make fun of you for anything. If I find humor in it, it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean that I impose my will or my, belief on anyone else. No. People will find humor where they find humor. But you cannot take it and get all offended and just, get your panties all in a twist because somebody made a joke that was I didn't agree with that. It's terrible. That's rude. That's not funny. Now, are there things that are not funny or that I don't find funny? Absolutely. I don't find anything about pedophilia funny. I don't find anything about, children abuse or child abuse. I don't find those things funny, but people do make jokes about, like even Kevin Hart made a joke about his daughter and, I want to smash her in her face or something. Now, I know that's absolutely ridiculous. He would never do that. I found it funny because it was just something in the joke that was funny to me. But there are things that I don't find funny, but I don't sit there and try and impose, that on anyone else. I may sit there and go, that wasn't that funny. But other people may have thought it was the funniest thing they've ever heard. And that, comedy is subjective. It's what I find funny, you may not find funny. What you find funny, I won't find funny. Who knows? But I read and I look and I watch these shows and I watch people that, you can't say you got to watch what you say. Look, freedom of speech includes comedy. It includes anything I say on my Twitter, anything I say on this live stream. It's all freedom of speech. You don't got to agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. It's your prerogative. But don't tell me or anyone else what they should feel or how appalled they should be at something I've said or something I've done. I mean, that's for every individual to figure out themselves. I mean, I just get so upset when I see people trying to, oh my God, do you see what he did? You hear what he said? He said this, and that's so untrue. Isn't that stereotypical? Oh my God, what a bigot, what a racist. You know what? People that know you, people that really, truly know your personality, know who you are as a person, they're going to laugh if that's not in your character. If that's not who you are, it's a funny joke. It's funny because they don't know. But apparently if people don't know who you are, what you stand for, they won't find humor in those things that you say. I don't care. I mean, when you can make a joke, and I think Kevin Hart, I think even Ellen DeGeneres stood up for him, and she did. Here's when people can raise above it and say, look, it's not maliciously intended at any one person or one group. It's just funny. I mean, I don't know. As I said, comedy's subjective. So if you don't find it funny, don't listen. Turn it off. Go a different way. But people today are so oversensitive about everything. I mean, oh, you can't spank your kids. Why? Why not? I'm not talking about beat them with a 2x4. But why can't I spank my kids? Why? I spanked my kids. I'll tell you right now, I spanked my kids. Anytime they did something that deserved a spanking, and I'm not talking about spilling milk, accidentally breaking a window or things like that. I'm talking when they did something that deserved a spanking, they got a spanking. That's all there was to it. And you know what? The funny thing is, and I know you're going to, oh my God, all my kids are well-adjusted. They have great families of their own, and they have happy children. They're happy. My son's an officer. He's a deputy officer. I mean, they grew up, despite being spanked, they grew up and they're happy. They don't despise me. They don't hate me. They spank their kids, too. They will spank the butt of their kids, too, when their kids do something bad. They do it. Oh, my God, what's this world coming to? You should have them stand in the corner, give them time out. They don't need to get spanked. Give them time out in the corner. Make them reflect and think about, no, you spank them on the ass. That'll get their attention, and then they won't do it again. You don't got to be afraid to raise your children the way somebody else wants you to raise your children. And you talk about, oh, you can't spank your kids. You know what you got to worry more about? Worry more about the fathers that father all these kids and don't do anything, are not in their life, deadbeat dads, won't have anything to do with the kids or family. That's where you should care about. Because you know what? To me, if you have a child, you have to be responsible for that child from the time they're, I don't care, it was an accident, I didn't want a kid. Bullshit. You either should spend the rest of your time in jail. So here's the deal. You have a baby, you support the baby and the mother, or the baby at the very least, and then you do that until that baby's 18, or you go to jail and just sit there until the kid's 18, they will release you. So you just get a sentence of one or the other. You either become a father, become somebody in that child's life to help raise that child, or if you're a dirtbag, then you assign full custody away from that child and still pay money for that child. And have nothing, because if you're a dirtbag, I wouldn't want you in my kid's life either. Wouldn't want you in my kid's life. So you sign this piece of paper, and you don't have to have visitation. You don't have to have anything to do with the child, but you still got to pay $500 a month or whatever. But I don't know. This world is just amazes me. You can have broken families and guys that think it's a man to pop out a child, go have 5 or 6 different baby mamas. and think that makes you a man. No, that makes you a piece of shit. That makes you a little teeny speck in all of humanity. It makes you a piece of lint, navel lint. Not even that. It makes you like the lowest of low, because you truly are. You're worthless. When you go around and you think popping out babies makes you a man, it makes you so less of a man. When I see you, I would literally just want to vomit, because you're the poorest excuse of a man that I could ever imagine. I wouldn't give you the time of day. I wouldn't give you a drink of water if you were fucking just parched. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just one of those things where, I just can't. Oh, it just gets me hot. There's just so many people that like to think they're all that. The true test of a man, of who you are, is not just who you are when nobody's watching, but it's who you are when you know what the right thing to do is. And to make excuses and say, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, if you can't do this or can't do that, then you sure shouldn't be out partying, buying cigarettes, going to do all this other shit, because you got other obligations that you can apply that money to. So I'm tired of excuses. I watch the erosion of society, and sometimes I'm just appalled. I'm just absolutely amazed by what people get away with. But it's a free country, so you want to pop out 9 kids and think you're a man, pop out 9 kids. Because if there's 9 women that are stupid enough, I'm going to tell you, ladies, it's not all the men. I'm going to tell you, it's not just the guy. There are so many women that are just so fucking stupid. They're really mentally, they should have fucking been, long time ago had their tubes tied, because they're too stupid to understand. They have no idea what love is. You think just because you pop out a kid that this guy's going to love you or stay with you? No. All it does is make you a slave to everything that he wants from you, because he's just a user. And women don't see that shit. Oh, the guy, he's so smooth. He's so, and guys, I'm sorry, man. There's so many of you out there that are just liars on every level. You just, you tell the woman what they want to hear. You always got an answer. Well, what about your other baby mama? Oh, baby, she doesn't want anything to do with me. She's got, you make excuses. You'll lie. Anything it takes to get in the pants of a woman. And you'll be Mr. Nice Guy, suave and everything. But once it comes down time for you to put up and take care of your responsibilities, boom, gone. And I'm telling you, if the women don't see that in the guy they're with, here's like this. I always tell people, you know what, you want to find out, and I'll tell any woman this. You want to find out how your guy is really? Here's what you do. Just simply say, and don't even tell him. I wouldn't say 2 words to him. I simply would not put out and give in to him for 6 months. 6 months. Don't tell him what you're doing, but just rebuff the advances. Just say, no, I'm not ready, and do that for 6 months. If the guy hangs around, and truly is involved with you and keeps you're doing stuff, you're doing everything but having sex, just 6 months. And if he stays with you, you got somebody who's you got a good chance of making it. But if he can't make it 6 months without sleeping with you, then guess what? He's a piece of shit. Because if he really truly cared, if he really truly loved you, then whatever time you needed was the time he would give you. But if you can't see that, and you just, because, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm the guy that sits here, and believe me, growing up, I was a pig. I was everything that I despise in men today. That was me. Growing up, that's exactly, I played the game. I know exactly what it is, the games they play, and I know I can be very manipulative. I can be everything that these guys are. But then you grow up and you find out the real world, and you're like, you know what? It's not so much that the guys have to learn it, because they already know. The women have to see it. And I'm going to tell you, the easiest way for you to see it, if you're a woman, turn away for 6 months. That's 180 days. Ladies, it's 180 days. Go 180 days rebuffing sex or any advances like that, and just, keep it down to making out or whatever. That's fine, but 180 days, no sex, and I mean, just see where things go after that 180 days. Either he's going to start cheating on you, if he'll be like out with your friends, or, oh man, I'm staying at my buddy's house tonight. He's out cheating on you. See, if all of a sudden he's not hanging around, like if you're 24/7 together now, or if you guys are always together and everything, he's not making excuses not to be with you. All of a sudden you cut him off, or you don't even give in to him in the beginning. If maybe you're in a new relationship and you don't give in to him, watch what happens. Watch what happens 180 days. Got a new relationship, just getting started, haven't really taken it to that next level yet. Boom, cut him off for 180 days. See if he sticks around. If he sticks around, women, you probably got a guy that's worth a shit. But if he doesn't, you've saved yourself a lifetime of heartache. I mean, literally, you saved yourself a bunch of heartache and agony that you didn't need. So it's good. 180 days is really just a great marker of how to find out how serious these guys really care about you. Because most of the players, they're weeded out. If after 180 days they can't get with you, I mean, these are guys that really are interested in you. If they want to be your boyfriend and they come to you and you guys hook up and say, yeah, we're boyfriend, girlfriend now, cut them off for the 180. Let's see where it goes. And you'll be amazed how many of you aren't in a relationship after 180 days. They ain't going to be there. So, yeah, a little rant on the way home is always good. I just kind of get amazed by how society has become today, and it's just one of those things where it's so easy to manipulate and lie your way into someone's pants or into some relationship. But then when push comes to shove, and maybe you have a baby that comes about or something, amazing how quick they disappear. And you know what? The only way to change that is to make sure going into it, to make sure you got the right one to begin with. I mean, a player can be, oh yeah, babe, you can be all that. You can talk the talk, walk the walk, be a player. You can be all the things that, oh my God, I'm so in love with this guy or whatever. And watch what happens in 180 days. All of a sudden you start seeing the real person. The real person starts, well, I can't come over, I'm doing this, I got this going on, all of a sudden, he'll tell you one thing and be out doing another thing. You can check up on, oh, well, you got to work tonight? Oh, okay, great. Go to his work, watch, he won't be there. And then when you confront him, oh, I was sick, I didn't feel like I didn't even go into work. Lie. Yeah, so, you've got to kind of wise up. And guys, I'll be honest with you, if you're looking for just a piece of ass, there's so many places you can get it because there's so many stupid people out there that'll buy into your bullshit. But there's going to come time where you really, truly are looking for somebody to actually spend your life with, somebody to spend time with. And I'm going to tell you, it's probably the best thing you could do to find someone in your life that will actually, that you can be you to. Not put on the face, not be the player, but somebody that will accept you for who you are. I mean, if you can find that, I've been, you guys know, if you've been watching me, I've been married 30 years to the same woman. I was barely old enough to drink a beer when I got married. I mean, literally, I was barely old enough to drink a beer and I got married. And I'm going to tell you, I've been with the same woman for 30 years. Never, ever could I think of changing anything in it. The relationship that I have with my wife, we've had ups, we've had downs, we've fought, we've argued about things. It has been the best thing in my life next to my kids. I mean, it has been, no matter how bad things are, no matter how good things are, she's always there. I'm always there for her. And knowing that, I cannot imagine getting up in the morning and not having her by my side. It doesn't matter if I'm broker than a broke dick dog, or if I had millions of dollars. It doesn't matter. Every day, I don't sit here and I think, well, the grass is always greener. I can find somebody newer and younger and more pretty and this and that. I don't even think like that, because you know what? She knows me. She knows how I am. She knows I am childish childish, juvenile, immature. I'm all that. And she tolerates it. She puts up with it. She sees it. She understands it. She doesn't like it. So I'm sure there's things that I do that just drive her crazy. But she is there. And if she ever needs me, I'm there. No matter what she's going through, if she needs to talk about something, if something's bothering her, I'm there. And, it's one of those things to where you truly don't know until you've had it. And I see so many people that have it and don't know, and they fuck it up. They get married and they go for something. And, you look at I'll give you a perfect example. Let's look at what most people associate with, like Hollywood. Now think of it, because this is something you can relate to because they're most public. So if you think of somebody in Hollywood, and there's so many that I can name, I'm trying to think of one that might stick out. That's really a good example. Man, I don't know. There's so many. Okay, Aniston, Jennifer Aniston. Now, think of this. You're Brad Pitt, right? You're Brad Pitt. You get married to Jennifer Aniston. Okay, you can bang that every night. I mean, she's beautiful. Even today, I don't know what she is, 50. Who knows how old she is? But you beautiful woman, very smart, intelligent on and you have that. But for some reason, I don't know. You're for some reason, and I'll never. Of course, we'll probably never understand the logic. Other than he thought, well, you know what? I'll go ahead and get this piece, because they're going to tell you, and I think even today they've stated, we never got together until after they were separated. Now, that's a lie. I know that's a lie. That's a lie that they perpetrate for the people, so the people will still go see their movies. Oh, well, it was okay because they were broken up and they didn't get together till after that was fine. No, what are you, an idiot? They were together long before Jennifer and him were done. They were shooting that movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and they were together. You know they were. But they're going to say, for Hollywood purposes, we weren't together, But here he goes, and he leaves what most men would think is like the perfect situation. But he doesn't leave it. He doesn't leave for any, literally, look at how quick he found love. So don't, you can lie to yourself, and it's kind of like Brad Pitt. It's like you can lie to yourself. You know, and I know as men, we know why you left that relationship. You left that relationship because you thought it'd be, hey, here's another piece of ass I can get, and she's probably even wilder, more exotic, and, whatever goes through your mind, it was all related to sex. Had nothing to do with anything else than you wanted to put yourself into a situation where you went from one starlet to another. You didn't stop and think about anything else. Well, we were fighting, and we were, you know what? Hey, that's relationships. Relationships are fights. So what happened? Him and Angelina Jolie got in fights. They got a bunch of kids together now, and they're in fights. Well, are they together? No, they're not together. Why? Because he's an asshole. Because he can't see when he's got it good. He can't realize what the good things in his life are, and he'll give them up to go jump for something else. And you know what? People like that will never find happiness. They won't find true happiness because they're not true with themselves. They don't understand what, or matter of fact, a lot of times they do. They just don't care. There are people that really, truly know who they are, know how they are, but don't care because they don't live. They live for moments of happiness. They don't look for happiness, I want to be happy all the time in my life and have this great life. No, I'll live in the moments of happiness, and that'll give me a more complete life. And you know what? That's a lie, too. The thing is, if you have something that's good, if you have something that, anything in the world that is worth value, that is worth having, is worth fighting for. If you want to have a great relationship, if you want to have all the happiness, it's something you've got to fight for. You can't expect it to just fall in your lap and then be, happily ever after. We're going to live like this forever and never fight, never argue, just be, you know what? That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Now, the thing is, when you do have those moments where you argue and you fight and you're in disagreements, those are the moments that are relationship builders. Those are the building bricks in your relationship that makes it stronger. Each time you fight, you argue, you kiss, you make up, you overcome it, those are the things that make the wall a little bit stronger where you guys are together. It makes it a little bit stronger, a little bit better because you've gone through things together. And you've made up, you've kissed, you've made up, you've accepted something. Might not be something you like, but you've accepted that's the way that person is, or that happened, you're going to put it behind you. But man, I'm going to tell you, I look at just society in general, and I think, how in the world do people get by day when literally all they're really doing is trying to jump from one moment of happiness into another at any expense? They don't stop and really think things through. They're like, well, I'm not happy now. I deserve to be happy. I'm going to go try something else. And then there's people that stay in relationships that are toxic. And they don't see them as toxic because maybe they're trying to follow that. Oh, well, I'm going to go ahead. I'll stay in this relationship and I'll till I'm happy. Well, that's the fine line, folks. You got to know, man. You've got to know when a relationship is worth salvaging and staying into. But when in a relationship, I'll give you an example, an abusive relationship. If you're in a relationship where your partner or your other half physically puts hands on you, that's not a relationship to stay in under any circumstances. Oh, he'll never do it again. He was just so upset. No, red flag, get the fuck out. Nobody has the right to put their hands on anybody else in life, period. Unless you're a parent spanking your child. That's different. But as an adult, you don't have your right to put your hands on any other adult, period. You know, I mean, and if you have a relationship that you have an abusive spouse, that's a toxic relationship. Now, that's not one. Now, of course, if you call it to his attention and he agrees to go to counseling and you work things out, that's one thing. But if you've tried and it just keeps happening, it's time. It's time for you to say, you know what, I got to do what's right for me, and I got to get the hell out of this relationship or he's going to kill me one day. And especially if you have kids, and the kids see that, or they're in that relationship, you know, where it happens around them, it's time, you know, you got to make a change, and your life will never get better. That goes back to, if you remember, like several weeks ago, we were talking about the pain or pleasure. You know, every decision you ever made in life, every decision that you ever will make in life, you make those decisions for only one of two reasons. You're either trying to gain pleasure or you're trying to avoid pain. That's it. There is no in between, no gray areas, no nothing. You're either what's most real to you when you make that decision. Whatever is the most real on your mind at that moment, that is what's going to be your decision that will be based off of. If you have a wife at home that you love and you've been together and you have an opportunity to cheat, what's going to be most realistic on your mind is if you associate more pleasure, sexual pleasure or whatever, with cheating with this woman, that's what's most on your mind. You're associating more pleasure with the act. That's what you're going to do. That decision was made the moment you associated more pleasure with being with another woman than with your wife. Now, if you're smart and you say, but wait, you know what? For the time that I spent with this woman, it would devastate my wife if she ever found out. I could possibly catch a disease. She could come back and try to break my wife and I up. It would be so painful. If you associated more pain than pleasure with that act, you would never cheat. You wouldn't have to worry about it. So whatever you do in life, just remember that pain and pleasure decision can have just amazing effects on your life, either positive or negative. We all know right from wrong. We all know it. It's inherent. We know as we grow, we learn this is right, this is wrong. Cheating on my spouse, cheating on my significant other, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, these are all wrong things. What's the right thing to do? If I'm unhappy in a relationship, break up, then go ahead and look for something better if I'm not happy. You know what's right, you know what's wrong, but you've got to start thinking of it from the standpoint of, before I make this decision that I'm making, why am I doing it? Am I trying to gain pleasure? And is it worth it? That momentary pleasure, or is it long-term lasting pleasure, or is it I'm trying to avoid pain by not addressing the real issue, that I'm not happy in my relationship? That's the real issue. So I'll avoid the pain and I'll look at the pleasure. You know, when you look at every day, you guys know I'm doing this diet where I've lost from 305, I'm down to like 275 pounds. But every day, I'm faced with a challenge. Every single day that goes by, I look at cake and candy and cookies. You know, I go to work, we've got chocolate brownie cookies, and every day, something as simple as that. It's a pain or pleasure. I look at it and I see in my head the pleasure that I would get from having that big piece of chocolate cake. Oh my God, it's devil food chocolate frosting. Oh my God, it would be so moist, delicious. It would be so good, makes my mouth water. Oh, it would just, there's that pain, so I'm associating, or there's that pleasure. I'm associating so much pleasure to that piece of cake or that cookie or that piece of pie or that peach turnover, whatever it is. There's so much in my mind, I'm looking at it going, oh. And what's most real to me almost at every time is the pleasure. I'm associating so much pleasure with it. And then I stop and I say, okay, now wait though. I don't need that. It'll just put empty pounds on me. I'll have a sugar crash. It'll make me feel bad. And I really don't need it. It's not that I need it for nourishment or anything. It's just, so I start to associate more pain. You know what? If I eat that, it's going to throw me off my diet. Then I got to start from the beginning. Then I've got to go ahead and I've got to try and put myself in ketosis again. Then I've got to go ahead and, have the sugar crash. It's going to put empty pounds on me. Now as I start associating more negative thoughts, now I start associating more pain with it, it becomes so much easier to walk away. And I just walk away and I go, you know what? It's not worth it. And that's life. Man, that's everything you go through in life. Everything is that. Pleasure or pain. What's most real? Do you get up in the morning and say, oh my God, my grass is 8 inches high. I don't want to get out there and be all sweaty. I'm going to be dripping sweat. I deal with all the bugs and the flying grass sticking to my sweaty body and all itchy. And the pollen, it's allergy season. I'm going to be sneezing. It's just going to be miserable all day. So do you do that? Do you associate so much pain with getting out there and doing your lawn that you don't do it? And it goes on to the next day and the next day until you're finally forced. Or do you get up in the morning and say, wow, I'm up early. If I go ahead and knock this out, I can go ahead and mow this lawn, and I can get back in the shower, take a nice shower, and I'll be clean. My lawn will be awesome looking. My neighbors will be really happy because I got a great looking lawn. I've got the rest of the day to myself. Wow, let me get up and go ahead and just knock this lawn out real quick, and I'll mow it, and I'll rake it, and I'll do all my stuff that I got to do, and I've got the rest of the day to myself. Or do you associate more pleasure with it? Do you say, I'll be proud, I'll take pride in my lawn, pride in my house, my neighbors will say what a great looking yard I have, the kids can go out and play again in the yard. Do you take that pride, do you associate more pleasure with the act, or do you associate more pain with it? And most people, when they don't want to do something that they know like I said, right and wrong, we all know it. We all know the lawn has to get mowed. We all know that we shouldn't eat the cake. We all know that we shouldn't cheat on our spouses. We all know that we shouldn't do these things. It's all a matter of saying to yourself, you know what? I know right from wrong, and I'm associating way too much pleasure with something I know is wrong. Do I do drugs or do I not do drugs? Oh, man, but those drugs, it's such a euphoric high. I mean, oh, my God, I get so high. My body's warm. I love the way I feel when I'm doing drugs. So you associate all this, it's more pleasure. I'm associating so much pleasure to doing the drugs. But then you're like, well, but then I have the addiction. I need to have them again and again. Then I need to take more and more eventually to get the same high. I got to have money. It becomes an expensive habit. I could lose my job. I could lose my relationships. I could lose my family. I could go to jail. I could die. All of a sudden, you start associating more pain with it, and all the things that the act brings, And then you start realizing, you know what? Why would I even take that drug one time? Here, man, just smoke this. Here, just try. You know what? I don't need the peer pressure. I don't need that. This is not me. Now, thanks. I'll pass. That's the difference. That's the power. I mean, when you start realizing what true power is, you have all the power in the world. You can't control anyone else, no matter how much you want, no matter how much you want to try. You cannot control your kids, your father, mother, brother, sister, cousin, aunts, uncles. You can't. You can control yourself and the way you think about every situation, and that should be your guide. What you think, you already know right from wrong. If you know it's wrong to do these things, you just need to start associating more pain with doing the act, and then more pleasure with not doing the act. That's what you've got to start doing. The way you program yourself, the way you think in life is going to determine where you go in life. That's just how it is. And I've learned, working for the last 5 years in 2 different prisons, teaching these inmates and instructing these inmates and teaching them how to have a career, how to build a better life. I'm going to tell you right now, I have been exposed to some of the most negative, these are inmates. These are prisoners. Some of them have done 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years. It doesn't matter the length of time. I have been exposed to some of the most unbelievably negative people in my classroom. And every single day, I've got them for months over months, I have them in my class. Every single day, I chip away just a little. And I go ahead and I teach them, and it's just a kind word, a little motivation, a little inspiration, show a little motivational video, just day by day chipping away. By the time they leave my class, they're not the same people that came into my class. And that's not to brag on myself about anything. It's just to say that if you put it out there, you can see it being received. That's the whole thing. And, a lot of these guys that come in, let's face it, most people in society, they live for me and my and I. How many times do you use the word I or me in a typical day? I did this. I paid the bills. I worked my ass off. I do this. I do that. It's always I and me. It's when you start to live for others, when you start to use words like you and yours, and when you start to live and do for other people, that's when you receive your greatest reward that you'll ever have. But most people won't realize that until many years later, because you've got to really, unless you're just super, super smart as a child and you've been surrounded by that stuff growing up, it becomes part of your life. Most people, it takes them old. They have to get older. With age comes wisdom. And in most cases, that's true. Some cases, it's not. Some cases, you never learn. Some cases, what's the one guy, one comedian says, stupid is forever, or, whatever. But you get the idea. There's some people that'll never learn. There are some people that are just destined to be back into prison because they're too stupid to know that they can change their life. They're too unreceptive to the fact that they can go through maybe a little pain, a little bit of stress and anxiety and everything, but while going through that fire, that's what forges steel even harder. When steel is put in and forged over fire, it becomes stronger. So you've got to literally put yourself into the fire before you can be reborn again and actually come out stronger. And a lot of people just aren't willing to do that. They look for the easy way out and the excuses. Because let's face it, guys, it's always easier to give you an excuse. I can make excuses about anything. I'm fat because I was abused as a child. I'm this because I can make excuses. It's somebody else's fault because I didn't get an education. They wouldn't let me go. My family was poor. I didn't have money. I had to work because I had kids. I can make excuses for everything in my life. Everything that went wrong, I can make an excuse for. I can cast blame on everybody, everything, the government, my neighbors, my parents, my relatives, people that were friends and did me wrong. I can cast blame. I can make excuses. Everybody does that best. I mean, everybody does it, and they all It's a way that they find inner peace. No, but if you truly looked at yourself, you'd realize there is nobody to blame but yourself. There is nobody's fault but yours. You know, you can't make anybody do things. You know, the reason is that you are in the way you are in your life because of every decision you've made. Nobody held a gun to your head and said to do this, to do that. You made the choices, and you are to blame for it. If you chose to keep the company that you kept, and you ran with the crowd, and you succumbed to peer pressure, and were made to do something you didn't want to do, well, you knew better. You just got caught. So it's nobody's fault, you know. But we love to do it. We like to cast blame. We like to put it on somebody else. It's all my faults. Everything in my life is on someone else. Look, man, when you become a real man, a real woman, and you really understand that everything you've done in life, you have done to yourself. If you wanted to get an education, you would find a way to get an education. Even on the internet, though, it's free, wealth of information. If you wanted something, you would find a way to be successful. You would learn, absorb, surround yourself by successful people. You would find a way to do it. But sometimes it's just easier to find, let's blame somebody. Let's make an excuse. Anyway, guys, I've ranted this whole drive. I'm sorry. It's an afternoon drive. I'm pulling up to the house now. Tune in at 7 o'clock tonight. I'll be online if you want to chat, got something to say, something to add. Jump online. Let's talk a little bit more. We'll carry this further. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great night. We'll see